So this is the first session in which both the divisions of TY are being together in APL session. There have been different number of sessions conducted on both the divisions. Sessions were not equal. The videos of E and B both are made available in the Moodle section of both the divisions. I hope you people have seen them. So today I will keep in the mind that the sections which have been like say for A division what was the covered and for B it is not covered, and what is covered for B and it is not covered for A. So I have that those things in my mind. So you will find that B division people will find that some contents are revised, and A division people will also find that the some contents are revised. So we will do it for at least one today's session. Maybe tomorrow onwards there is no requirement of revising some point, and directly we can start with the session. But while revising also, I'm not going to revise it as it is. I will pick up the next point from the course content, and while covering or while discussing that particular part, I will give a blend that it will cover whatever the part missing from either of the division when we have conducted respective sessions for individual divisions. So that care will be taken. So let's start. Let me share my screen. So your screen is visible to everyone? Yeah, good. So Harshita is saying yes. Atyalta is also saying yes. Okay, great. Fine. So this is something that we were doing. Fine, I'm not going to go up. This was for A division, I guess, or B division. So let's delete this part. And we have only the first class. We have discussed a lot about this. So no need to talk about what is this class and what is this public static. Let's experiment some more stuff about this. So what I will do is I will put one variable in the class. Let me put the variable called as integer. Let's call it as value, val, and I'll create an object of this class. Obj is equal to new first, right? And we know that by default we have covered this part. Like by default, the class members are going to have a default value respective of their type, and this is a numeric type, so it is value is going to have a default value of 0 assigned to it as it's a member of the class. I'll make use of a constructor. Let's put a default constructor in the class, which will increase the value by 1, val plus plus. Every time the object is getting created, the value will be incremented for that particular object. Now, what we will do is, first, let's say object 2 is equal to object. So what we have done is we have created one object, which is obj, and on the second line we are saying first obj2 is equal to obj. And now if I do it like this, obj2 dot val is equal to, let's say obj2 dot val plus plus. And now system dot out dot println, if we immediately start printing out the output, Let me remove those double quotes. I'll say object2 dot val, and before that we will also print the value using the object1. So system.out dot println object dot val value. Now if I compile these things and if I check the output, what will be the output? What do you think? I quick answers in the chat window. What will be the output? 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So Aditya Kavai is saying 1, 2. Rajvardhan is saying 1, 2. Priyanka is also saying 1, 2. Neil is saying 1, 2. Shubham, Tanuja, Sabdashri, all these people are saying 1, 2. Fine. So this is what you have guessed. So let's try. Let's try and execute this. So there is no star symbol, so I'm sure this file is saved. Then I'll press Ctrl S. So let's compile this. Java C, the first dot Java. This is compiled. Now let's run Java first. And you can see that output is a bit different than what you people have given as an expected output. Now, I was very sure that most of you people will give 1, 2 as an answer, because this thing makes Java a bit different story compared to C++ and how its memory is getting managed. Right? So Java is a bit strict OP. So you are not wrong actually. Just it is like Java is doing something different in the background if we compare it with how the C++ or GNU may handle the memory management. So in the case of Java, let's understand what really happens when we do such kind of allocation. So let me take help of a paint again. Let's say you people have we have a class template as usual, and we have a value variable inside this class template. So I'm going to put one more section inside this. I'll call this as a value variable, value, and this is my class first. So this is my first class, which is a class. So this template is available. When I use a new keyword, a fresh memory is created. Right? And this memory have an object. Now let's say this is my object. So this memory is, let's say, called as 0x0. This is the hexadecimal address. Assume this is a hex address which is stored in the object. And now we have discussed in one of our video that it is going to, as it is not a static variable, this is going to refer the value from template of the class. This is not going to copy, it is going to copy, not going to point to the value. So a unique copy of this value variable will be created inside the object. If I make this value as a static variable, instead of creating a copy, it will refer the variable from the template. The address will remain same for the value. But this is not a static variable, so it says copy val. And in the class, you have something called as value, right? And initially it will be 0 because value in the class template, as it's a member of a class, its value is 0. So the value becomes 0. Then what we are doing is, as soon as the constructor is getting called, we are incrementing value by 1. So this val is getting plus against it. So we are doing val plus. So obviously it is going to become 1, right? So this is what happened. On the next line, however, we are doing like first object2 is equal to object1. So let's look at our notepad file. So what we are really saying in our program is, we are saying that first obj2 is equal to obj, and what is stored in obj? Obj is storing what? Obj is not storing any member. It is storing a reference, which is the address of where the object is created. So what is happening in the program is, you are creating just another label. Let's call this label as obj2. and it is saying I am pointing to obj. So obj2 is saying I am pointing to obj. There is no new keyword. There is the absence of keyword called as new. So when you say obj2 is equal to obj, this means that obj2 is referring to something called as obj. And what does obj is referring to? Obj is equal to 0x0. What this means? This means this is the object. This means this object. 0x0 means this memory where the object is created. And the next line we are saying obj2.val plus plus. So obj2.val, let's see how this line will work. So what will happen is you will go to obj2.val. So this is the call. So obj2.val. So what is obj? It will first convert obj2 into obj. What is the meaning of obj? Obj means 0x0. So it will go to this object, same object, and it will say val plus plus. But what is the current value of val? It is already implemented in the constructor while creating the first object. We implemented it. So value has changed from 0 to 1. So now this val plus plus will increment it one more time. So what we are doing is we are saying val plus plus again. But what is the existing value of val? The existing value of val here is 1 because you are referring the same object. So obviously val becomes 2. So that's why, okay, the story is not finished yet. So on the next line we are going and we are saying print object.val. Now what is object.val? Object.val is still 0x0. Object val is still 0x0. So what is the value of 0x0's value variable? Initially it was 0. While creating a constructor you made it 1. While creating object 2 you made it 2. So now object.val will print 2 on the screen. On the same ground, we are saying system.out.println object2.val. So what is object2? Again, object2 means object1 or object. What this means? 0x0. What this means? This variable. But what is the current value of this val? Which is 2. So again, you will print 2 here. So that's why the output of the program is going to be 2 for the first line as well as 2 for the second line. Any quick questions? Or everyone got this concept? Rajvardhan has not. Okay. Rajvardhan has some trouble with. Got it? Got it. Repeat, Mansi, Sonami Singh, repeat. Okay, fine, I'll repeat the story. So I will remove everything from my paint. I will not save this. Let's start from scratch. So let's do it. So what is this about? This is about creating an object, and we know that I hope that you have attended the earlier sessions, or at least you have seen the videos which are posted on Moodle as well as on YouTube. They are available. Like this new triggers a call to the fresh memory. This new keyword triggers the call to the fresh memory. So what is happening in the background is you are creating a template. This template gets loaded in the memory. This is a class template. So let me call this template as a first. Now what do you mean by template? Template means whenever you want to create the object of a class, the object must know what is the class name, what are the members inside the class, what is the type of that member. So this all information is available in the memory like a standard template. For example, when you create a blank Excel file knows that it is an Excel file, so it has empty A columns which are named as A, B, C and so on, and empty rows which have been named as 1, 2, 3 and so on. So that is a template, default template. So in the same way, the class also have a template. In our case, the class first have only one thing inside it as a member, and that one thing is nothing but the value variable, right? And we have discussed this in the earlier session that the members of the class are always initialized. Depending on their type, they will get a value. Now, as the value variable is of type integer, its default value is going to be 0. So this is my template, which will be made available in the memory. Whenever I create an object, this template will be referred. So what we are doing is we are creating an object using obj is equal to new first. So this will trigger a call to the constructor. This line will trigger a call to the constructor, right? And it will trigger a call to allocation of a memory on a heap area. So let me assume this circle represents a memory allocated on a heap. This circle represents a memory allocated on a heap for the object. So this new memory is allocated on the heap. This memory is going to have an address. Let me assume this address is as 0x, or let's say this address is 0000 or 0. So this is my binary address of the object 0000. Now this object, this memory is reserved because of this new address is available where the memory is reserved. Now we are passing this address and it will be copied in the variable which we are saying as obj. Now let me create the variable called as obj, which is going to store this address. So I will say obj is equal to. Now what actually obj is storing? Obj is storing the address or the reference where the memory is reserved on the heap area. Now while referring the memory, as this variable is non-static. Now we have seen this in another session again. I recommend if you haven't seen or attended that class, please go and watch the videos of A division as well as B division. This concept will be made very clear. Right. So as this is not a static variable, we are going to get an independent copy for all the objects. So we are going to get an independent copy for all the objects. So this, when we create an object, let me refer this curved line as a copy syntax. So what this line is saying? Copy values of all data members. So you are copying the values of all the data members from class template to the actual memory allocated. So yes, that is going to happen for the value variable also. So value variable is getting created inside the new freshly allocated memory, and you are copying the value of data members. So value becomes 0. Okay. So up to this point is clear. Anyone have a doubt in this section also? Pragati and Mansi and Sagare, can you give me quick responses? Is it clear up to this point? Fine. Pragati, are you there? Fine. Great. So all three students who have posted it out. Okay, fine. Now the next story is interesting. See, what we are doing on this line is we are saying object 2 is equal to object. Right. We are saying object 2 is equal to object. So let's do it on the paint. So I'm going to create a new label called as object 2, and I'm saying it is equal to object, right? So what is stored in the object? When you copy this line, this syntax, what is the meaning of the assignment? Meaning of the assignment is copy the value which is stored in the variable. Copy the value which is stored in the variable. Let's say let me completely create another section here and see if you have, let's say, integer k which is initialized to 1, and then you write it like this: integer j is equal to k, right? So what is actually copied? What is k? K is pointing to what? 1, which is stored inside a k. So when you say integer j is equal to k, the j will copy the value which is stored inside k, which is 1. So the exact same thing is happening here. Look what we are doing. We are saying object 2 is equal to object, and what is stored in the object? What is stored in the object? In the object, the value which is stored is 0000. So this is stored in the object. So when we say object 2 is equal to object 2 also points to the same memory, which is 0000. It means this object is pointing to same memory. So what we are doing on the next line, we are saying object 2 dot val plus plus. So object 2 dot val plus plus means you are saying, okay, let's write this code in a deep line. So if I replace this object or object 2 with what is the address of a memory is, on this line object 2 dot val plus plus, what we are actually writing is 0 0 0 0 dot val plus plus. Now what do you mean by 0 dot val plus plus? Where is this value? This is here. And now when the first constructor got created, we know that the value in the first constructor is incremented to 1. So when this object was created, this value has already become 1. So the new value of this value was 1 because of this constructor call. So when you created a new first, a memory is allocated. In the constructor, you are saying val plus plus. The default value was copied from the class first to the template to the new memory, which was 0. In the constructor, you said plus plus, so it had become 1. That was the story up to this line. Now you are saying object 2 is equal to object 1 object. So it means you are copying the address here, this address, into object 2. Now as soon as you copy the address, that means you are pointing to the same memory. And the next line you are saying object 2 dot val plus plus. Object 2 dot val plus means you are saying indirectly you are saying 0000 dot val plus plus. So where this memory? This memory is here, right here. This is the memory. And what is the value of the variable? It is 1. So you are saying val plus plus means you are saying value is going to get incremented to 2. So the new value of this variable is going to be 2 after this line. Now after this, okay, there is a question by Sagari on the panel. If object 2 overrides the value, and that's what we are doing in the program, right? That's what we are doing in the program. What we have done in the program, object 2 dot value plus plus. It will change, it will not override. Override is a different word, meaning, and you are actually pointing to the same object using two different names, right? So object and object 2 are no two different objects. They are the same object. We are just referring the same object with different name. Let me put it in this way. So Rajvardhan is your name, and you must have a roll call in your division. So if I say, let's say your roll call is, assume your roll call is 2. So what I will say is roll number 2. That means Rajvardhan. If I say Rajvardhan, that also means you. So it is the same story. Let's say OBJ is the name and OBJ is the proxy, which is the roll call. So if I say roll call or if I say name, I am actually pointing to the same object. So even if I say OBJ or if I say OBJ2, actually the instance is not going to change. The instance is very same, right? So when we are saying coming to the system.out.println and saying object.val, what is it will try to print the value of val variable. So what is the value of val variable 2? On the next line we are saying object2.val. Again it is saying 2. So the output has become, obviously the output is going to become as 2, 2. Is it clear for everyone or still anyone have a doubt? So Kshitij, Sangar having something. So if I increment the value for OBJ, then it will reflected in the object too, right sir? Yes, it will. So again, I want to make a point here, Kshitij, like these are not two separate objects. These are just two names given to same object. These are the two names given to the same object, right? So they are not two objects. This is the object is still single object. So object and object 2 are just two names pointing to same object. Fine? Okay. Great. So anything else? Okay. So I hope that everyone got this. That window is suggesting so. So let's proceed now. Object behave like pointers. Ishwari. Okay, so Ishwari have posted one question in the chat window saying that object behave like a pointer. So exactly the point where I am leading this class is I want to discuss something called as this keyword that you people have seen in the second year C++ also. That keyword is present in Java too. And what do you mean? How we refer this keyword is we say that this points to the current object. That's what we wanted to say. So let me put it in this way. The question has come, so now we can proceed in that direction. The question from Ishwar is objects behave like pointers. So Java, okay, now there is another question. Let me read it for everyone. If we create object2 by new keyword and then object2 is equal to object, then what is the case? Okay, so Aditya Kawai's question is, if we create an object2 by new keyword and then object2 is equal to object, then what is the case? So it's really an interesting question because we are going to, these both questions are going to lead us to explore the features of Java. So I really appreciate this both questions, one from the Ishwari and second from the Aditya. So let's answer the both questions. I'll keep the chat window open. So in the meantime, if anyone has another question, you can post it. No problem. We will answer this question. So let's answer this question in serial order. The first question that you want to answer is, objects behave like a pointer. So let's go in this way. So while designing Java, the people wanted to keep the strong features provided by C and C++ platform, but with diluted risk. Now, what do you mean by diluted risk? There is a risk coming with the pointers. The risk, like the programmers may create while writing the logic is, they may create a memory leak. They accidentally may modify the address, which is possible with the pointers. Like you may accidentally modify the pointers using pointer arithmetic, or you may do it like you accidentally change the address in the memory and suddenly the object is no longer available, or it may happen that you deleted some object and you just said that the pointer is going to point to null, so that is going to create a memory leak in the case of C and C++. So Java says that, okay, let me deal with this. I will not allow you to deal with addresses directly. So in the Java, you can't access the address of this object. So in the case of C++, what we can do is, what everyone can do is, we can say that obj. And if we do it this, it is going to give us the address of object, which is even different than 000. 000 is the reference which it is keeping inside it, right? And this is same true for the value also. So if I say ampersand value, this is the address of value and not the actual value stored in the variable. This is possible in C++. It is not possible in Java. Java says that I will not allow you to deal with the addresses. I will take care of the addresses and its management in the background. You do use this facility, or you use object or use variable, but I will not allow you to check the addresses. I will not allow you to modify the addresses. This all care will be taken in the background. Now, when Java says that I will take care of this addresses, indirectly Java is saying that I will take care of pointers. I will not allow you to deal with the pointers. I will manage the pointers on my own. But at the same point, Java is not depriving programmers from using pointers. So Java is allowing that, okay, you go on use pointers, but I will not allow you to deal with addresses. What did this mean? This sounds something tricky. So tricky means Java is prohibiting you people from using this ampersand, right? Java is not allowing you to use this ampersand. Means you can access the value stored by val. You can access the value stored by object, but you can't access the address of obj and value, right? So what is obj storing? Obj is a pointer variable, so obviously pointer variable stores the address. Pointer variable stores the address, right? So in this case, when you modify obj, that time this value will be modified and not address. For object, its value is address itself. And that you are allowed to modify because it's a value for this variable. But at the same time, you are not allowed to say ampersand obj is equal to something. You can't write this statement. This is not possible. Because Java says that I will not allow you to deal with pointers. So obviously with the normal int key variable, you can change only value. You can't change the address. You can't create the asterisk variables. Not possible at all. So objects behave like pointers? Yes. Actually, the objects are reference variables. So here is the statement from Java development team. Java development says that the reference types in Java are equivalent to pointers in C and C++, except they do not allow you to modify their own addresses. So this is the statement from Java people. Pay attention at the statement. Objects, I will not quote object only, I will say reference type. Now immediately after this, we will see what do you mean by reference type. So in the Java, reference types are equivalent concept to the pointers in C and C++. So in the reference type of Java means it's a pointer of C and C++. Just the difference is, here you are not allowed to do address modifications. With the help of in the case of C and C++, you are allowed to do address modification. In the case of Java, you are allowed to do value modifications, but you are not allowed to do address modifications. Now, value modification means, what is this object? This is a reference variable, so obviously this is going to keep address. So you can change its value, which is the right side, 000. You can change that, but you can't change ampersand of the object. Similarly, for integer variable, val, what is the value of this? Maybe a 1, maybe a 2. You can change that, but you can't change the address of the val variable. Is it okay, Ishwari? Is it okay with everyone? If you have any other confusions, let me explain it in a different way. Okay. Great. So, do we have pointers in Java? Yes, we have pointers in Java, but these pointers are not the pointers of C and C++, right? They are reference types. So, Aditya, let's answer Aditya's next question. If we create object2 by new keyword and then obj2 is equal to obj, then what is the case? Let's answer this second question. So, let's do it. Now, I will open this forum for the answers. So, the question is, what if I create this object? First, let me write it like this. First, object2 is equal to new first, and on the second line, we are saying object2 is equal to object1. This is going to again lead to another feature of Java. Before proceeding with this feature, can you tell me what will be the output of the program? Immediately, everyone. Guess the thing and tell me the output. So this is the scenario wide open with you. So everything is available. You have a program with you. You have what is going to happen, what we have discussed earlier. So quick answers. Answer is 2, 2. Okay, by Neil. Any other answer? Ashita is saying answer is going to be 1, 2. Satyamesh Patil is saying 1, 2. Divya Tavade is saying 2, 2. Siddhi Patil is saying 1, 2. From Rajvardhan, answer is 2, 2. Namrata is saying 1, 2. Omkar is saying 1, 2. Aditi is saying 2, 2. And then Sharvani is saying 1, 2. Shivani is saying 1, 2. Okay, so we have people who are partitioned now. Like, it's a good bunch of people from your class who is saying 1, 2, and the second group is saying 2, 2. So let's try to see. Okay, there is one other answer saying 3, 3 from Aditya. Answer will be 3, 3 from Aditya. Aditya, can you unmute yourself and please explain why the 3, 3? If it is possible, otherwise I will check the output. I will explain the story. Yes, okay.
For object 1, first constructor is call, then value is 1, and for object 2, the constructor is of call, and object value of value is 2. Then we incrementing the value.
Okay.
Then that answer is 3.
Fine, thank you. So, let me explain, and then you people will give what will be the output, right? So we have 3 flavors of the output. Many people are saying output is going to be 1, 2. Many people are saying the output is going to be 2, 2. And we have one person with output as 3, 3. So let me explain the scenario. And then you people tell me what is going to happen. I am not going to give the exact output. I am just explaining what is going to happen in the background, right? So, you called the constructor, right? So obviously you created a memory. So the new memory is allocated, which is right here, right? So memory is getting allocated. You say you copied the value, trace copy credit, so it became 0. Then you called the constructor, it became 1. That's fine. The story is good. Then you created an object. Object 2 is equal to new first. So you created, later let's create object 2. I'll put this here. I'll put here. So you created something called as object 2 here. Let's call it as object 2, right? And it is going to have some different memory. So 00001 is the value of this memory. And obviously it creates a constructor, it copies the value, so it is going to have val is equal to 1. Val is equal to 1. This happens in the background. Okay, fine. So obviously we are smart people. I hope up to this point everything is clear. Any doubt up to this point? Up to this point, huh? Any doubt? Anyone have a doubt? No doubt. No doubt. Fine, fine. Great. Great. So let's see what happens next. So here, pointers, reference variables are pointer variables in Java. So this object is a reference variable. So what you are saying, object 2 is equal to object 1. So what is object 1? 0, 0, 0, 0. So you are saying object 2 is equal to object 1. So this store is not going to change. This store is going to remain same. So you are copying what? You are copying the value or you are copying the address? Actually you are copying the value, but what is the value of object? Objective value. What is the value of object? Object's value is 0, 0, 0, 0. So obviously what object will point? Okay, Aditya, I have another doubt. Can you, okay, 1 val is equal to 1. Okay. Aditya, can you explain what is your doubt?
डायरेक्ट 1 घेतलं कारण मला वाटलं कन्सेप्टचा कॉल करायचा.
म्हणजे
तर आपण कन्सेप्टला कॉल करून व्हॅल्यू 1 झाली. मला आधी वाटलं की ती व्हॅल्यू कन्सेप्ट कॉलला, पण मी कन्सेप्टला कॉल करायचं विसरलो व्हॅल्यू प्लस.
Okay, fine. So your next output is 2, 2. Okay,
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Yeah, fine, fine. So, then, obviously, the object 2 is going to copy the value of 0, 0. Now, I'll stop here. So, any other issues now? So, what will be the output, guys? Anyone wants to change the output? For example, let me scroll away up. So, Harshit, what is your new output? Or are you want to stick to Harshit Doshi has already put as a 2, 2, Kshitij Sangar. The two people have switched from 1 to 2 to 2. Shubham, what will be your output? Shubham, are you there? Shailesh Moite is saying 2, 2. Tanuja Sunan is saying 2, 2. Fine. Tejaswini, are you there? If you are there, okay, Tejaswini has already put your answer 2, 2. Let me scroll a bit up. Any other person? Prathamesh Patil, what is your answer? Prathamesh Patil, you there? Yeah. So now the people who are giving the answer as 1, 2 are changing the answer to 2, 2. I hope you see, this is the beauty. Without compiling, without executing, you are able to see the output. So directly, indirectly, again, you are creating a compiler in your brain, basic compiler in your brain that you are able to see the output of a program without executing it, right? So there is one problem is going to happen in this case. Can anyone tell me what is the problem? In the case of C and C++, we have created one problem. Can anyone tell me what is the problem that we have just created in this program? This was its execution. The diagram is still here on the right side, and this is what we have written. So in the case of C and C++, this thing has created one problem with the memory management. So this is your hint. With the memory management, this left side, this program has one issue. In the case of C and C++, not in the case of Java, that is the feature of Java, how it handles it. So can anyone tell me what is the problem that we have created in the case of C and C++? Double memory, type conversion. Okay, type conversion is a good answer. But here there is only one type. Type is first. So there is no type conversion problem. The both objects are of same type. So that's not a question of type conversion is a problem. So Harshit is saying double memory has been allocated. Okay, anything else? Object 2 will be lost. And Shubham Jain has come up with the correct answer. The correct answer, conflicting values, is by Rajvardhan Sagre. I am not getting what is meant by conflicting value. We'll focus on that. So I have one correct answer by Shubham Jain. Old object 2 will be lost. So that's fine, it is lost. Garbage collection. Onkar Dhende. Okay. Anything else? Onkar Dhende, that's a bit pinpointed answer, garbage collection. Can you explain what you mean by garbage collection problem? Is it possible to explain you what do you really mean by garbage collection problem? Hello, Onkar, you there? You can type your answer in chat box, no problem. So conflicting value, Rajvardhan, it is not the quite correct answer. Meantime, you can type your answer in the chat box and post it, or you can just unmute yourself and talk to me. So Onkar then posted a new answer, which is memory will not be erased. That's the correct answer. Object and object 2 are of same type. Unused variable of memory is deallocated in garbage collector. So Swati saying that unused variable of memory is deallocated in a garbage collector is the answer by Swati. Neil Doshi saying how object and object 2 are of same type. Okay, how object and object 2 are of same type. Fine. So we have one question, how object and object 2 are of same type. Fine. So we'll answer that. Neil has asked this question. Onkar Dende's answer and Swati Awasai's answer is pinpointed, and Shubham Jain has also given a correct answer. Just wording is different. So here, this is a feature of Java. What is feature of Java? See, when you created a new object, a fresh memory was allocated. Here is that fresh memory. This was the fresh memory which was allocated for the object. On the next end, however, you are saying object 2 is equal to object. So that means you are replacing the object 2's value from 0001 to 0000. So you are replacing the address of object 2 with 0000. It means that this memory is no longer in scope, as well as this memory is no longer required in the program. In the case of earlier programming environments like C and C++, when you lose the pointer, that time you create a memory leak. The memory which has been allocated using malloc, memory alloc function, or calloc functions, those memories are leaked if you are not seeing those memories. So we have to write like free and then the object pointer to delete this memory first, and then we used to change the address of the pointer. That's how we have to do it. But in this case, how we have done it, we are directly changing the address of a reference variable. We are not bothered about freeing up the memory which was earlier allocated. So in the case of C and C++, this would definitely create a memory leak problem. In the case of Java, there is something called as garbage collector. Garbage GC. There is a function called as GC. This is function GC. What is this function? So this garbage collector function is running in the background in the JVM, or it controls your program execution. So this garbage collector, what is the job of this garbage collector? This garbage collector has to look for the memory leaks in the JVM. As soon as it finds an object variable which is creating a memory leak, the collector will release the memory for that particular object. So when this GC gets called, this GC finds that in this program, this object 2 has reserved a memory called as 0001, But now this object is no longer pointing to 0001. This object is pointing to 0000. So GC immediately takes a decision that there is no other variable which is pointing to this memory. So we have to delete this memory, and this memory will be erased. This memory will be erased from the system. So let me literally erase this particular object from the place. So GC comes in picture and literally erases this object from the memory. So this is how garbage collector improves the performance. It looks for the memory leak, or it looks for the objects or the variables which are out of scope, which are no longer required, and it will delete them, or it will free them from the memory. And the freed memory will be returned to the pool from which the program, the object which requires a new memory, for that purpose, the freed memory will be used. Sorry. So is it clear what is this feature? GC, garbage collection. Is it clear with everyone? Yes, okay. Great. Variables of memory is located in the garbage collection. This is smart. Okay, fine. I have one question from the name. The only question is which is remaining to answer. Do we have to call GC? Raj Vardhan Sagri. Do we have to call GC? No, we do not need to call GC. We do not need to. It will be automatically called in the background. It will be automatically called. So we are not supposed to call it. We are not supposed to call this. If we have to call it, what is the job of garbage collection? If we are doing it, then we can do it using free, right? If we are that much cautious about memory management, why do we need to call GC? We can then carefully write the memory deallocation and allocation stuff, and it will be taken care by programmer himself. So garbage collection is a function, or it's a feature which is designed so that programmer do not need to worry about deallocating the memory which is no longer in use. That's why the garbage collector is designed and created. So the programmers can focus on their core logic implementation rather than worrying about how the memory is getting managed. So this is another feature of Java. Java is a strictly typed language, and Java is a strict OP. And how this strictness has come to Java is Java has implemented its own functions, its own features around it. And one of the features is garbage collection, which makes Java memory efficient. How memory efficient? Is everything which is creating a memory leak or a variable going out of a scope or a new memory is required and all this. Everything is not it is not given on the head of a programmer. It will be managed in the background by JVM. So GC will be called automatically. We are not worried about it. Okay, Rajvardhan, is it okay? Okay, great. So let's come to the last question, which is how object and object are of same type. What do you mean by type? Let me integer k, integer l. What is the type of this k and l? Integer. So first O and first j. What is the type of O and j? First. What is the type of obj? First. What is the type of obj2? First. So that's why I say that both obj and obj2 are of same type. Is it okay? Harshit, can we declare obj2 as first obj itself? I think so. Harshit Doshi is saying, can we declare obj2 as first obj2? Yeah, we can do that. In fact, we have done it, na? Before doing it, we have done it like this. I guess he joined a bit late. This was the point which triggered all the discussion, right? This is how we created a program, and then I say that output is going to be 2, 2, and then we checked how the output is going to be 2, 2. Then there was a question, what will happen if we create a memory using new? And then we answered this, right? Fine. So is it clear that, okay, both objects are of same type? Fine. So lots and lots of discussion. Great, great. So let's do it. Let's go and proceed. Let's proceed in the program. Let me restore the original program. Fine. So this is our program which is going to give the output as 2, 2, and we have just seen its discussion. I'll close the chat window till the next question comes on for the keeping it clear. Let me check. So I have 9:53. So I'll have 5 minutes. We will engage the lecture for 5 more minutes and then we'll stop. So the next session will start in time. So one module, I will end this question with end this session with one question for all of you, and we'll start the next session with the same question, right? So let me do it like this. Let me put up. I'll remove this. I'll have one variable in the class which is value. Then let me create one object. Fine. And then I'll say object dot value is equal to 2. And let me create first object 2 is equal to new first. And I'll say object 2 dot val is equal to 3. Right. So we have two variables. We have two objects which have been created against the class, and I will put a public void data method, and in the data method, I hope you all are checking out what I am saying. System dot out dot println, and here I'll say value, right? And now I'm going to call this data method. So I'll say object dot data. So what will be the output, guys? Immediately on in the chat box answer. What is the output? Two, 3. So output is going to be 3. Rather than, I guess you need to, what I will do is I'll upload this video recording immediately after the session. I recommend you go through the session again. I am sure that you will get the while output is going to become as 2, not as 3, right? So obviously the output is going to become as 2. And if I say object 2 dot data, now what will be the output? Now we are printing both the values. 2, 3 is the correct answer. Not only 3, because we are not deleting the first method, right? So this first method is going to print it as 2 and the second method is going to print it as 3. So 2, 3 is the correct answer, right? Yes. So now let me tweak with this. So now integer val what will be the output? This is the question which is going to lead us to the next session. I'll keep this value, I'm going to keep this question open till the next session. In the next session will start with the exact same answer. So meantime, I'm sure that you will find it enough time to check the program, check its output and think on the output. Before ending of the session, can I get some quick answers? What do you think? What will be the output of the program? 11, 11. 11, 11. Okay. Yeah, so I'm happy to see the answers. Okay, great. So here comes the beauty of the keyword, something called as this, right? Here we have to use something called as this. We have seen this case in the C++ during our C++ sessions, like why this important, right? So yeah, great. So nice to see that most of the people know this. So in the next session we will start with the exact point, and there is something called as cloning the object. So next session, which is on the Saturday, we are going to discuss about cloning. Okay, there is Harshit is saying 2 and 3. Fine. Harshit, I recommend an entire class to try this and then come up with your own conclusions. What do you mean by why the output is going to be 11, 11? why the output is going to become as 2 and 3, or if there is some error. So we will see these all answers in the next session. And in the next session is going to focus on the concept, which is of this keyword, and then object cloning. So we are going to see what is object cloning and all in the next session. I hope the concept that we have discussed are clear. So it's 3 minutes remaining. It's 2 minutes remaining. I should end the session. See you on Saturday session. Fine? Yeah, great. See you on Saturday.